man, I'm, like, really good at writing short stories, but I'd, like, really like to write something longer, you know? But who has the time to actually sit down and write a full-length story? What kind of no social life loser actually writes multiple full-length stories?
Hey!
Like, seriously, what kind of basement-dwelling mama's boy actually has, like, enough time to write such lengthy stories? Like, one is bad enough, but what about, like, 3 or 4?
Well, I'm sure some people...
Seriously, who has time for that? Who?
Well, I have this product.
Oh, do tell.
I'd like to show you the Story Stretcher, the device that uses 2 mechanical arms to grab each side of your draft and then pull as hard as it can, lengthening the story and magically adding enough subplots and flowery descriptions to naturally add length.
Whoa, that's like so neat. Is that how you wrote your Megazoic books?
Yeah, that's exactly how. The Story Stretcher is guaranteed to add oomph to your words, pizzazz to your draft, and moolah to your royalties, turning simple flash fiction into Trojan saga-length novels with the simple press of a button. No basement or mother coddling required.
But what if the story is, like, too long? Like, what if I want to turn flash fiction into, say, a novella, and the stretcher just goes too far?
I'm glad you asked. The Story Stretcher also works in reverse, pressing drafts together and shortening your lengthy descriptions about window panes and flowery fields to a more manageable length, in case you are a basement-dwelling... What was it you said?
Basement-dwelling mama's boy.
Right, yes. And...
who never cut the umbilical cord, whose will is just one sentence that says, the kid gets everything.
Yes, that. Thank you. In case you are that kind of writer who has written, say, 3 to 4 books now available on Amazon.com for print and Kindle, you can use the Story Stretcher to turn your books into more easily readable short stories. The Story Stretcher works in every situation.
That is so cool. Finally, I can write the stories at a length I want.
Yes, indeed. Glad you're happy. The Story Stretcher, available by calling our toll-free number. Get yours today. Remember, it's not the size of your story that counts, it's how you use it. Alright.
Now that I'm giggling.
Of course. Welcome, fellow nerds, to another episode of The Ritwich, the show about writing that's way less funny than it thinks it is. Unless you think we're funny, in which case, what's wrong with you? Have some standards, sheesh.
I think I have standards, but I still like the show.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. Well, you are a bit of an ass kisser. No, that's not true.
Hey!
No, that's not true. So once again, we have Christina, and Matt David is currently getting situated in Japan. He should be back shortly. We shall see, though. He will definitely be back at some point between now and the heat death of the universe, so...
Sounds good.
Okay.
We have another interesting genre topic today, don't we?
Yes, we do. Last time we talked about romance, and this time we're talking about... It's not quite the other direction. In fact, it often intermingles together, but... Well, sometimes it does. But we're talking about horror! Yep, because Halloween's come early this year, as it should. It should be like Christmas. That all of August and September should just have Halloween music in the stores, and decorations like crazy. It should be just like Christmas in that way.
I agree. Like, as somebody who complains about like the Christmas coming too early thing, like Halloween can never come early enough for me.
Like, just imagine as soon as September hits, we just get all the Halloween. I guess sometimes places it's like that, but like imagine like the Halloween music. You walk in the store and all it says is spooky, scary skeletons, or like...
I think I fell in love with that song the first time I heard it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We're talking about horror, and as before, we have like a couple things we're going to talk about it specifically. And I guess the first off, what do we like about horror as a genre? How is it effective for us?
So, I absolutely love horror,
yes.
And I think I finally got down to the bottom of why, like, not too long ago.
Okay.
I read an article by Vice,
yes.
Googled it. Apparently you can also find a Teen Vogue version if that's more of your thing. It's definitely not mine.
Right, but it's good to have that option.
Hey, we're not here to judge. It outlined how people that have anxiety, like me, love horror.
Really?
So I myself can often have high levels of anxiety, and us anxiety sufferers can channel these feelings in a healthy way through the horror genre.
Right.
Anxiety often comes down to like an issue of control.
Right.
So when I'm watching or reading something that's scary, I can control not my feelings, but how much access I have to the material.
Right.
When it starts and finishes, and can learn like new coping mechanisms to fear and anxiety, because I can not only examine the character's actions, but like see how I could improve upon my own life.
That's interesting.
Almost like living through them.
Right,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
So, I don't really like being frightened in this universe. I'm
Well, of
like a
course.
little scared bunny, to be honest. But it's mainly because my husband can literally quietly walk into the bathroom and scare the living bejesus out of me.
You know, earlier today, actually, earlier today we were writing down our notes for this, and I went to the bathroom, and I had forgotten to lock the door to the stall.
Oh, God.
So someone actually barged in, like, ah!
Oh, no!
So I can feel that. Thankfully, I was sitting down, so they didn't see anything, but they still saw. But I was like, I'm so sorry, I forgot to lock the stall. So I feel that.
That's actually like one of my fears and I've only had it happen to me once where somebody walked into a stall, but like if there's a bathroom door that doesn't lock, like I will do everything I can to make sure that nobody's coming in.
You pull out the duct tape.
Yeah, right? Like, So, speaking of things we're afraid of.
Right.
But,
Well, there you go. I just, I experienced it just today. So.
Well, I don't think people like being startled. It's just some of us are, like, way easier to startle than others.
Right. I think I have a problem with this, though, because one time the same thing happened. It was my boss at work.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah.
That's, like, ups a level.
Yeah, she was very startled. So.
Oh, but that's true. That's because you guys at, the certain coffee brand shop have, like, single bathrooms. It's not like a gendered bathroom.
No, it used to be gendered, but now it's just two single stalls. So
I think it's better that way.
It is. Anyway, sorry, yes, go on.
Anyway, after he has startled me a few too many times, I asked him
You're a husband.
Yes,
by the way.
my husband, not mad.
Okay.
I don't think that's ever happened.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I startled you with how great I am. No, that's not.
Yes, that must be it. But I asked Jake, my husband, to announce when he enters a room, which he finds annoying and tedious, but he's a nice guy, so he doesn't really exploit that weakness very often.
Well, that's good.
I feel like I can be empowered to overcome these fears when I experience them through the lens of somebody else.
Okay.
I also like the lower level frights that I experience that I know are of no threat to me.
Right.
And I know, as we said earlier, I love Halloween, so come on, I gotta stay true to that line of thinking.
Halloween's pretty good. I do like it a lot. I like the creativity of it. I like the cool costumes, and I like the atmosphere of it. Some of the decorations can be a little bit like the new ones where they do video on top of windows.
Oh yeah,
and it looks like there's a ghost actually in there.
I love that.
Yeah, I hate it, but
we just got into that. We just got a really high quality projector for last Halloween. And
right, I remember you were showing me some of them, and some of them are pretty terrifying. Well, some of them are also kind of goofy though. But
that's another bathroom story. I'm taking a shower.
Oh, that's right. I remember this.
Yeah, Jake turns off the light in the bathroom, and apparently a good medium for the projectors is a shower curtain.
Oh,
so,
no.
First the lights go down, so it's dark, and I'm already freaking out. And I know my husband likes to scare me. So, and then I see, I look over slowly. It's just like in a horror movie, and I see this, projected, ghost face on the shower curtain.
That sounds terrifying! He is so mean!
I mean, in all fairness, I'm evil too. I like to fart on him and stuff, but
There's a big line between farting on someone and then scaring the Okay, I thought we actually don't say that word on the show. Scaring the crap out of them.
We'll just beep it out.
Yeah, I'll beep it out, yes.
Anyway,
more editing for me, but that's okay.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, well, on that specifically, that's terrifying. But in terms of horror, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of horror, as I'm too much of a coward, and remember things that terrify me, like an atomic supercomputer. Just because...
Where's that from?
Just like how, I have a memory of it. It sticks to it, and I very, very clearly. It's I remember, it's just grabs onto me, and I just can't let it go. That's kind of what I mean. It's just especially at night, when I'm alone in my room in the dark.
That's everybody.
And I have no cockatiel in my night cage to protect me anymore. Because, he's dead.
I mean, if you're watching horror movies in the dark by yourself at night, what kind of a weirdo are you?
Right.
How can you do that?
I mean, some people think that's the only way to do it.
Ah!
Well,
Not us wimps.
Well, it's kind of funny, though. Like, for the night after Penny died, because he died in that night cage in there. For a minute, I was like, oh no, I'm scared to sleep. The ghost of this cockatiel is in this room.
Would it be a friendly ghost?
I guess it would be, but I still wouldn't like it. I still would be spooked, like, creeped out, like, okay, ghosts are real.
Right. Definitely unsettling, for sure.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's a ghost of my cockatiel, and he's trying to snuggle up with me, but nope.
I've always been comforted by the fact that I've never seen a ghost or, like, really experienced anything ghost-like. And
right.
pretty much put out a vibe like no ghosts allowed.
And the ghosts respect that.
I think they do. It's nice.
Right. But so
the ghost code.
Right. But I do appreciate horror, though, and I understand why others like it so much. It's like a roller coaster, giving the readers or viewers an adrenaline rush through scares and thrills. In terms of how it's effective for me, I'd argue it's way too effective. Like I said, I remember things that scare me incredibly well, and they stick to me and cling on my brain like a needy golden retriever. Like, whenever a horror movie trailer comes on, whenever I'm at the movies, I always have to cover my eyes so I can enjoy the movie I'm actually paying to see and not just think about the scary horror movie from earlier. However, like a true caccospectomaniac, I can't look away from something truly repulsive. It's fascinating to me. And yes, I always knew that word. I didn't have to look it up. And certainly didn't learn it just today when Googling it.
I mean, that would never happen.
Why would it?
We don't do that.
You insult my intelligence by thinking otherwise. Alright, well, everyone's afraid of different things, as, we can all agree. So how do you hit on those universal fears? Or do you go for more specific, targeted fears?
I say you do both.
Yes, probably true.
Yeah. Are you, like, trying to reach a broader audience or really creep out, like, a specific group of people? You're going to have to answer that, I guess, yourself.
Yeah.
But, if you're going to try to reach more people with an overarching theme or threat, I think that's good, but along the way you could insert smaller things that are gross, violent, terrifying.
Right. Well, there's a lot of stories that aren't necessarily horror themselves, but have horror elements to it. So, yeah. Like, what example you have, though?
So, for me, I was thinking of Sweeney Todd. Can't talk, apparently. The main fear that I found in the film or in the literature is that, well, there are plenty, really.
Right.
That someone of the lower class could overpower and harm somebody from the upper class. Of course, cannibalism.
Right.
That's the huge one. Having an unknown threat to a city, like not knowing who's after people. But below those big things, we have less pronounced familial issues, like a parent taking advantage of their child, although it's, I think, an adopted child like me. A woman who becomes trapped in a relationship with someone who could very easily harm her. That's a bigger theme that we do see in literature, but in this one it's not as pronounced.
Right, but that's still terrifying, like being trapped in a situation like that.
Absolutely.
And feeling there's no one who can help you, and yeah.
And then we've got the loss of true love. I mean, that's pretty horrific. The fact that, Sweeney Todd does lose, like, the love of his wife and he can just never fully recover. That's what fuels this whole thing.
Right.
But it's not, they do kind of make it kind of a big issue. But
Right. I like how you said love of his wife, but you could have said love of his wife and both of them would have been accurate.
Oh, that's true.
Like,
we can rhyme here.
Yeah, rhymes sometimes are accurate.
So the authors, Reimer and Prest, effectively hit on these bigger issues, and they kind of disguise the more minor, terrible things that happen. But they're both there. The more you can pack in right there, I think the more you're going to affect the readers in some way, and I think the more you're going to horrify them.
Right. I think that one fear you mentioned, though, was funny. Like, oh no, the lower class could actually hurt the upper class. How terrifying is that?
Right.
Like, it's not like the opposite happens all the time.
I know. Yeah. That's, like, the most terrifying thing of all.
Like, can you imagine? I think it sounds great, personally. Give them a taste of their own medicine. But for an upperclassman, I guess that would be scary. Like, oh, those people I stomp on, that they could actually stomp back.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you should just be nice in the first place. We won!
That's true. It's very applicable to today.
Right. Anyways, on that note, I would also say both, like hitting universal and more specific fears. Like, certain phobias are more common than others, though. Like, a lot of people are terrified of spiders, but some people are fascinated by them or don't think much of them.
Hey, that's like us.
Yeah.
Because I like spiders.
Ugh, I don't.
And you're just creeped out by them.
Nope. Absolutely not. They're a big fat nope for me. So sticking a giant spider in your story isn't guaranteed to scare everyone.
Not me.
Yeah, see, I mean, like, it depends on how it's designed. Like, the spider from Lord of the Rings, that actually didn't scare me that much.
Really?
Yeah. It's because the legs are shorter. It's like a tarantula. It was like a long...
Like a daddy long leg
Yeah,
type.
Those are freakier to me, so...
Well, I feel like the furrier they are, the more you could just kind of, like, pet them, and they're more relatable to like our pets that are just like furry and cute.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, I still don't like tarantulas. I would never pet one. You could not pay me to pet one. So, but on the other hand, if you go too niche in your fear, though, it's not very effective. One very, very unusual quirk about me is I'm slightly terrified of clocks without second hands.
I never knew that.
Yeah, well, it's because I don't like to bring it up a lot. Any moment, the number on a clock can change, and suddenly 1 minute has gone by, like that, and then the last minute is gone forever. For some reason that I cannot explain, that really disturbs me. It takes a lot of willpower to not focus too hard on the clock on the bottom right corner of a computer screen, but I can't get rid of it because I like knowing what the time is.
Oh, that's true. That's such an interesting... I think everybody has, like, that one very specific, like, really off-the-wall fear. Like,
yeah, like I'm looking at it right now. It says 12:57, and I'm looking at it. If I looked at it for a really long time, I would just go mad.
Well, because also the anticipation of that changing over. And then,
it's 12, and they'll be like, oh, it's 12:58. Oh, it'll never be 12:57. Oh, there we go. It's 12:58 right now. Ah!
But it kind of makes sense. Like, I've got a fear of mine that now the whole world's going to know it. But I think only like 2 or 3 people know about this, but I really, really do not like bathroom or shower, like, drains.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you're afraid you're going to get sucked into it?
No, that's not it at all. They really creep me out. I think they're really gross.
They are gross.
They're not clean, but I clean our shower, so I know it's not dirty.
Maybe it's because you have no clue what's on the other side.
I feel like something could, like, come up out of it. Like, I don't like going into the bathroom in the dark, where you can't, like, see into the toilet bowl. Like, because after I watched Spice Girls, something, like, crawled out of the toilet, I think, and attacked somebody, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Right.
And it's freaky.
Yeah, okay, well, I won't tell you what happens in Guam.
Oh, God. No, what happens?
Snakes. There's a lot of snakes there. Like,
and they come up out of
Yes. Yes, they can.
I mean, are they dangerous snakes?
No, but they're still snakes.
I mean, to, like, feel something slithering on you that you didn't feel before.
Yeah. Yeah, especially comes in from that end.
I mean, that's a particularly vulnerable area of your body.
Yeah, exactly. I like snakes. I don't think snakes are creepy. I think they're cool, but that is, like, no. Like, yeah, where I'm most vulnerable, I'm not gonna have, like, a...
Yeah. No.
Anyways, point is, if a horror story capitalized on the very specific fear of clocks without second hands, it sure as hell scared the crap out of me.
But, like, I'd be like, I don't really
Everyone
understand.
else would be like, what? What is this?
That's totally true. Like, confuse the heck out of everybody else.
Right. But so, what makes an effective threat/monster? Well, this is a very broad thing, but...
It is. But it's a good question.
Yeah,
so...
I think we did pretty well in our answers here. Maybe. Well, you'll find out, listener.
Sit on the edge of your seats. Wait for the horror.
Oh, no! Listen to our scary answer.
So for me, it's the other, like,
right.
in quotation marks.
Yeah.
I studied monsters a lot in my minor in film studies, because who doesn't want to, like, watch movies and then analyze it, right? Which actually...
Sometimes I don't, but...
Well, that's what's funny about my minor, is it ended up making me, like, not want to watch movies anymore for a while, because I was like, I can't not analyze this.
Right.
So...
Well, then, like, sometimes it makes movies that are, like, fun, but just fun. You like, oh man, these movies aren't very good, but I liked these movies before.
I know, and it's, like, soul-crushing, really, so I have to, like, tell myself, don't do that.
I know you're a really big fan of the movie Van Helsing, but, like, has that ever happened to you? Because a lot of people don't like that movie. I think it's fun, but, like...
I mean, yeah, like, I don't think it's, like, a great movie.
Yeah.
Like, but I really like it.
It's fun. But there's nothing really to it.
I mean, yeah, it's just, it's got a lot of cliches, and it's just, but...
Yeah, if you analyze it, it falls apart, but it's fun! It's Hugh Jackman and... What is her name? The girl you like?
Oh, gosh.
I'm thinking about it.
Now that you asked me, I can't remember.
Kate Beckinsale,
yes.
There we go.
I mean, my girl crush, so,
right.
You know.
Hugh Jackman's not quite my boy crush, but he's very charming.
Everybody says that Jake looks like Hugh Jackman, so I think I have to like Hugh Jackman.
I think maybe Jake says that Jake looks like Hugh Jackman, because I don't see it.
I think you're right with that guy, but anyway.
Jake's her husband, by the way, I think
we've mentioned that.
Okay, just making sure.
Maybe, for people who forgot, yes.
I don't know, you just said your husband earlier when talking about the shower curtains, that's why I wanted to specify that. It's the same person.
Jake equals husband.
Yes.
So if you've ever been in this type of academic setting, learning about horror, I'm not sure if you can avoid learning about this. Anyway, when someone or something doesn't belong to our group, we not only end up ostracizing it, but we frequently end up fearing it because we don't understand.
Right.
This happens all throughout history and even today. We look at classical monsters like Frankenstein, who the citizens of the town want to take dire action against.
Actually, it's Frankenstein's monster. I shouldn't say that. I hate it when people say that to me. That's why I said it in that voice, but I just felt like that. If we didn't say that, we'd get emails.
Well, and I was going to say that, but I'm like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Sorry, I truly apologize for that.
That's okay, you can be a snob. You're my friend. We really don't understand the science behind bringing somebody to life. We don't understand it, so we're afraid of it. A living dead person, zombie, vampire, things like that, we don't quite know, about. They're just freaky. It makes sense. But because these things or people don't belong in our typical group, they become that other. This other is anything that's just not us. It can include, like we said earlier, other social classes, races, or in the more extreme cases, things that aren't human at all.
Right.
We don't get them, they may not get us, and even if they aren't truly harmful to us, there's just this natural reaction to be wary of the unknown.
Absolutely. No, I think I remember reading that, it's funny that we were called cavemen. Apparently caves are a very primal fear that humans have, just because we instinctually think there's an animal in there.
Or something.
Yeah, there's more like a bear or like a...
I'm thinking, what was that movie? Oh, shoot, I can't remember.
The Cave? Is there a movie just called The Cave?
There probably is.
Yeah.
There's just something creepy in there.
Well,
and it's in the dark, and you can hear it, but you can't see it.
There was that one meme I've shown you before. It was it's like this really overgrown looking door, like cellar door, and there's a thing that's open, and it looks all like a horror movie, and then it says in very scribbled text next to it, "Free dog pets inside," and then the text was, "I'm about to risk it all."
It's just totally true, but I think a lot of us would fall for that. I've done some urban exploring with a really good friend of mine,
right?
And we actually went into a basement of an abandoned house. I won't say where or when, so we can avoid getting in trouble. But we went down into the basement, and it literally looked like something out of a horror movie, and we're it is time to leave.
Yeah, I'm not staying down there. If I saw that sign, I'm like, nope, you're there's a trick here. I'm not doing it. I can just go to the pet store later if I want.
Which I might just do anyway.
Yeah. But yeah. As well as things that are different from us, though, I think another type of monster, I guess it's kind of the same thing, but it's a little different. It's something we can't see.
Yeah.
Like the unknown. There's a reason why Jaws is so effective. Because we never see the shark until the end. And it's well serving a practical purpose, since the mechanical shark that Spielberg used barely worked. It also made the viewers dread the shark even more. We saw the people, we saw the hands floating in the water, where detached from everything else. We saw, the carnage, we saw the blood, but we never saw the shark until the end.
Well, seeing people react to something and then just, letting your imagination run wild, that's scary.
Right, well, for another example, the Nazgul from Lord of the Rings, they have those hoods, and you don't see their faces, it's just black. And that makes it really scary. You're like, what's behind there?
Mm-hmm.
And another non-horror example, because that's all I've got, really. Although I guess some people say this is sci-fi horror, but Jurassic Park, can you guess how long it is before you see the full Velociraptor?
Oh,
don't look at my notes.
Okay,
I probably already told you.
I'm not looking. So how long is the movie?
It's 2 hours and 10 minutes.
I mean, I'm guessing it's probably longer than we suspect. I'm going to guess an hour and 15 minutes.
An hour and 50 minutes.
50 minutes?
50.
That's almost a whole movie.
Yeah. And then they're all there throughout the end, but throughout the rest of the movie, they're there. We just don't see them. They shred that poor cow, and all the ferns get rustled and such. We see them dragging the workers back in the corners at the beginning, and we hear their cries, but we don't ever see them until that moment. I mean, sometimes we see glimpses of them. At the very beginning, we see their eyes for a second, but then we don't see the full animal until an hour and 50 minutes in.
But how you don't know what you're up against, so how do you even try to fight it?
Yeah, exactly. And yet throughout the entire movie, where they establish that these raptors are a real threat. That one guy, the one hunter that's with them, he says they systematically test the fences, they strategize, they remember, and he's really afraid of them. And that one guy who gets all the power off to the guy sabotages the park, Nedry. He gets all the power off before stealing the embryos and leaving. He specifically leaves the raptor fences on Because he's like, I'm not dealing with those.
Yeah, he, like, knows just how dangerous they
Yeah,
are.
like, everything else is off, but the raptor fences are still on, so...
But I think all rational humans are gonna think, like, the T-Rex, yeah, it's scary. But, like, I feel like I could evade the T-Rex with the Velociraptors. Like,
nope, the Velociraptors can go in the kitchen with you. So
yeah.
The T-Rex can't do that. So...
Like, if you hide inside, the T-Rex may not even know that you're there.
Yeah.
But then they're gonna sniff you out.
Right, exactly. Oh, speaking of raptors, hi, Henry.
Hi. Much nicer.
He's about the size of a real-life velociraptor. The raptors in Jurassic Park are oversized.
Oh, well, that's not that big, but still, if it had, like,
if it had
multiple
claws,
inch-long claws...
and there was a pack of them, you'd still...
Yeah, they could be a real threat, especially since they're up on their, like, hind legs.
Right, exactly. Anyways, so basically, the longer you can go without showing the monster, and only showing the effects of their presence, the more effective the monster is. Like, imagine, like, a horror movie, you don't really see the threats, but you see the room get, like, cold, and, like, frost, goes on the window, but it's like deathly cold. It's not like a weather thing, or like the air stops and like suddenly it just goes away, and you're like, there's something here, and I don't know what it is, but it's not good.
Well, yeah, the not knowing, like that just makes it worse. That's us people with anxiety too. I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Okay, here's
freaking out.
So one time I was trying to kill a spider, right? But I didn't have a shoe on me. It was on the wall. And then I went to go get a shoe. I came back, guess what? It wasn't there anymore.
Oh no, that's the worst.
I was like, oh no! And I was just looking around my desk the entire time, like trying to find it. It was gone.
I mean, it could be anywhere.
Yeah, it could just plop up.
The thing that creeps me out the most about spiders is, like, they don't really scare me, but, like, eating them in my sleep scares me.
Yeah, I think that's a myth. I think the spider usually aren't dumb enough to crawl into your open mouth.
Have you ever woken up with just, like, this terrible taste in your mouth?
No.
Really?
Maybe spiders just don't like my mouth.
That's happened to me.
Maybe you with the ghost repellent, I have the spider repellent.
That's true. I think I sleep with my mouth open, so I'm maybe especially prone.
Yeah, I think I probably do too, but I don't know. Anyways. So, all these emotions that we're feeling are pretty great. So, on the topic of emotions, 4 segues are great. What kind of emotions, other than fear, should a horror writer instill upon the reader?
Okay, so I like emotional attraction or attachment to the monster.
Yeah.
We talked about this earlier. So it can really complicate things. It makes us have a more complex relationship with it, him, or her, them, so we can be truly inclusive in this time of pronouns. I'm glad we can call folks what they prefer, honestly, in this day and age.
Yes,
like, we've been calling people the wrong thing forever. Like, just tell me which one would be called, and
well, the nice thing about language, like a lot of people refer, like there's no gender neutral pronoun that's not dehumanizing, like it. Well, them has become it, has become that pronoun, and people are like, oh, but that's plural. I'm like, the nice thing about language is that words only mean things when we all agree that that's what they mean. So if people start saying them to mean a gender neutral pronoun, and everyone agrees that's what it is, guess what? That's now a gender-neutral pronoun in the English language. So.
Exactly. Like, at first I was like, oh, but it's plural. And then I'm like, you know what? This isn't about me. This is about people that want to feel like they are called what they want to be called.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the nice thing about language. So
deal with it. So we'll go with the term them or they. Having that attraction to a monster can be repelling in and of itself.
Right.
Because we can't sometimes help but like them. But in liking them, we're disgusted with ourselves. So
right, exactly.
That makes us relate more to the monster, arguably, than many other things could.
Yeah.
When we have a crush on the monster, or when we empathize for them or with them. I'm thinking like the girls who write to the serial killers in jail.
Oh, man.
Or when we see like the traumatic past of a tortured monster. We become them. We understand them.
Right.
This goes against the grain and honestly the theory of the other in making us become the monster or want to have a relationship with the monster. When we humanize them, and honestly it's unnerving.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like it goes away from the other, but also kind of makes it more unnerving because they're us now.
Yeah.
Like the thing is like that when people... Like, I've heard some people say about Hitler, for instance, that we shouldn't call him a monster. He was human.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We have to own it. Like, we can't just say, oh, no, he was just a monster.
Like, I think about the things that happened into his life, like the one thing that they bring up a lot, which they say kind of propelled him into, his future life, is that he was a, striving artist and he wanted to get into art school and they just flat out told him no,
right. And
which people can relate to that.
And also his father was abusive too, I believe, so... And, but no, like, so we have to own that. We can't just separate ourselves from him. Like, that could happen again, and some people say it already is happening with some people, so, and that's the thing, we can't just say, oh, he's not human. He is, and that's the scarier part.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. That's really, honestly, downright alarming.
Yeah.
I think that the use of this, when it comes to another example that comes to mind of it, is the Joker.
Right.
Matt actually gave me this example.
Yes. It's the best example other than Frankenstein, I think, because we were thinking about this, like, what's one, and we were both like, Frankenstein. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, Frankenstein's monster.
We need to, like, mix this up, Yeah. So, when we actually get his backstory, apparently, and I learned this today, it's revealed that his father was abusive to him. Okay, the parallel there. Kind of leading him to try to cope with his past. Things turned dark for him. Matt was telling me about the Joker went to an open mic night to try to express himself, kind of maybe heal from some of those traumas in that way, in a constructive way. But things go wrong. He fails so hard that he turns the role we traditionally think of, turns into that role of the bad guy.
Right.
He blows up the theater as revenge for the lack of people laughing at him, or something like that.
Yeah, like, I don't remember it specifically, but I've heard that's one of the backstory. I think it's from the Killing Joke story, is the comic. It's like a graphic novel series called The Killing Joke, or just one comic. It's one big comic.
I mean, correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not a Joker expert.
Right. My answer's a little bit shorter than yours, but I think, oddly enough, a good example, emotion other than fear to have, is fun. Like, there's a real entertainment value to be found in a good horror piece. Like,
well, I think it's so funny to, like, watch these people, like we were talking about earlier, do some stupid stuff.
Sometimes, I'm going to talk about that later, that sometimes it's annoying, but sometimes it's fun. Like, if you're into that sort of thing, it can be cool to see the creative ways a slasher villain kills someone.
True.
Like, or watch a super annoying character meet a gruesome end.
You're like, yes.
Yeah. Like, obviously this is subjective, but I think fun can be a good secondary emotion to strive for in horror writing.
I didn't read your notes on that one, but I really like that.
Yeah, I think it means something. Like, I also like, emotion, with like emotional attraction. Like, I think that's interesting. Like, and not just with like horror too. Like, good villains, I think you're kind of supposed to see, even if you don't agree with them, where they're coming from.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, so that can be cool.
Well, because if you can't see where they're coming from, you're just like, oh, they're just like pure evil.
Right.
They're not a compelling character necessarily.
Right, like, that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I guess kind of a sneak peek for the upcoming final Megazoic book. The main villain, who is a complete monster and does a lot of terrible things and kills a lot of people. He has a body count in the billions, I think, at the end.
Oh, geez.
By the end. He in this final book, you kind of learn how he got to be that point. Like, it's not something, like, where his mind went from where he started to how he got to where he was. You can sort of see the steps.
You're like, okay. Like, I get it, but I don't approve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, exactly, so.
Very good. Well, should we go on to, like, any final miscellaneous thoughts that we
Sure, let me
have?
just check and see how much time. Okay, yeah, this should be fine. Some episodes are about, like, I think our shortest episode that we've done so far is about 34 minutes, so we're good then.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Final miscellaneous thoughts.
So,
yes.
Ladies first, I suppose.
Of course.
Going by traditional gender standards here.
I mean, I like to be chivalrous sometimes.
You're a lady too.
I suppose that's true. Yeah. Okay, well then I'll go first.
So I always hope that horror can be accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
That sounds like someone who has an obsession trying to pawn it off on everybody else. Probably am. But I love it when other people share their passions with me. Like the glimmer they get in their eye, it makes my day.
Right.
Whether we're enjoying horror aimed at a child's type of a level, or we're going like full gore porn. Can we say porn? I guess.
Yeah, we can say
it's
porn.
not a bad word.
Yeah.
I hope that everybody has a type of horror that they enjoy and they can relate to.
Right.
Horror can reveal so much about ourselves. When we learn what we're afraid of, we learn how to grow.
Right.
We can explore the depths of our own psyche and what we're afraid of, and go from there. We just get to know ourselves better. Maybe, and to be really, really cliche here, maybe we can even face our own fears.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? And also, the technical term for gore porn is gorn, by the way.
Oh,
no,
we learn something every day.
I don't know if that's actually the technical term. That's just what I've heard people say. It's,
interesting.
Yeah, just because it's a good portmanteau.
Oh, yes, true.
So my final miscellaneous thought isn't so much like a summary of everything like a good English major should do at the end of their essay. It's more like just a nitpick that couldn't really fit anywhere else. I don't like it. I mean, we talked about this earlier, sometimes it's fun, but sometimes I don't like it when characters in horror movies die just because they do stupid things. Now, like, it can add to the entertainment value, like I was talking earlier, but most of the time I just find it annoying.
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But I'm also evil, so...
I guess that's true.
I'm like, look what you did. You get
Yeah,
that. You deserve it.
I think in terms of, like, if you're trying to scare people, I think it's more effective if the characters are smart, do everything right, prepare for every situation accordingly, and still get killed by the monster.
Oh, true.
Like,
yeah. Well, because I think we'd like to all think that we ourselves are those latter people. We're
yeah,
not
like,
just gonna,
we'll
run
be
around.
safe, because we can do that. No one's safe.
Yeah.
It adds to the tension far more than if dumb people die by being dumb.
True.
Although, like I said, it's kind of fun to parody. I did see, like, there's like a clip from one of those scary movies just called Scary Movie. Like, the early ones were actually pretty funny and satirical. Later on, they just got dumb.
Yeah.
But the first one, there was like a clip where this one girl was walking alone in the forest, and she comes across a path with two signs, a cross in the road. With
a fork in the road.
A fork in the road, yeah. And there's two signs. One that says die, and the other one says live, and she walks towards the die section.
Oh, God.
And just parodying that sort of...
Well, fun fact about me, I love horror movies, but I'd never seen those movies before.
Yeah, well, they're not good.
Until quite recently.
Yeah?
Well, yeah, because I thought they were just going to be really, really bad, but
for the most part, they are. But, like, the first one, the first couple are pretty funny.
I thought they were pretty, like, for being bad, intentionally bad movies, they were pretty entertaining.
Yeah, like, a lot of times they, like, satirize the key parts of horror that might need some improving, maybe.
I mean, I thought the movie was hilarious.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. But other than that, I hope I contributed okay to this episode. As I've said, horror isn't really my shtick. I do find certain aspects of the genre intriguing.
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely been some times in my writing I've tried to scare people. Like, maybe not so much in, like, horror ways, but, like... Well, maybe sometimes in horror ways. Like, there's a chapter in... Especially in the third Megazoic book, where it gets a little darker, that I play up the horror stuff pretty highly, so...
Well, hey, there you go.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, that's it for this week. Thank you once again, Christina, for coming aboard. So contact us. Well, again, if you have questions for any of us, her included, you can contact us at mattd@matthewdoncreator.com for any general questions to any co-host. You can be like, Matt David, where the hell are you? Or...
We miss you, Matt David, but he'll be back in good time.
He will. After I kill him.
I've got big shoes to fill. I mean, like...
I mean, literally, he's like, no, actually my shoes are bigger, but...
well, that's true.
But still...
I've got medium-sized shoes to fill.
I mean, that's probably, you can do it, I believe in you. But anyways, you can follow me at Matthew Don Creator on Facebook, at MatthewDon64 on Twitter, and MatthewDon64 on Instagram. Why 64? Because the last man on Earth was sitting alone in his house when he heard 64 knocks on the door. It was scary at first, but then after about 30 knocks, it just got annoying. It's like, oh wait, I'm not alone! Oh, wait. Shut up! Stop! I get it!
Would you just stop already? Like, what is this? Like, burst in the door or don't.
Alright, so that concludes it for this week. Again, thank you very much for Christina. As we say at the end of every episode... I'll come up with real content later. The Read
Am I supposed to do it at the same time as you?
I don't know.
That was such a good scream. I can't not laugh.
Thank you.
All right.
That was more realistic.